Hello and welcome to Lorbeck Luxury Cars. I'm Harry and on this edition of the Friday Drive I have for you this, our 2021 Aston Martin DBX. Yes, that's right, it's an Aston Martin four-wheel drive. Now there's absolutely no doubt there's a very large number of you who are watching right now which at the very thought of such a car or the existence of an Aston Martin four-wheel drive will just fill you with absolute dread and angst. But, you know, it is what it is. That's how the future's going. I mean, we first started off with the Mercedes ML, and then the first really controversial one was the Porsche Cayenne. And fast forward today, we've now got this car, and in not too far, I think it's only in a few months, we're going to see the Ferrari Purus, whatever it is. Ferrari has actually joined the club, even when they said multiple times they wouldn't. So, what are you going to do? But don't despair that much, because the DBX is the first Aston to be built in its latest factory in Wales and has its own brand new dedicated platform and borrows all the best bits from AMG Mercedes, like the 4-litre twin-turbo V8 from all the most exotic AMGs today. The net result of all of that is a brutal yet refined, I know it sounds a bit weird, but trust me on this, 404 kilowatt 4-litre twin-turbo V8 sitting up in front of me. Now, ordinarily when you borrow sort of bits and pieces from other car manufacturers, you sort of expect it to take on, I guess, the personality of the car from which it was lifted, especially an engine. It's the heart and soul of the car. But in this, it doesn't feel like it's been plonked in. It has its own sort of Aston Martin-y character to it. And if you were to drive this without the knowledge that this engine came from a Mercedes, you wouldn't pick it. Not saying that in a bad way. It's a good thing. Well, not saying that the Mercedes engine's bad either, but it's a good thing. Trust me. And moving on to the looks, there is no doubt that even though it looks too tall for an Aston, after a couple of minutes you cannot deny that this is a very handsome car, and the design with its long wheelbase and short overhangs give it the appearance of a much smaller car. And inside here, it's such a nice place to be. I mean, you've got acres of leather everywhere. These seats are particularly nice, very comfortable. And I really like all the cross quilting and all of that sort of stuff. And as well as all of that, all these sort of switches are very familiar to anyone who's come out of a Mercedes because they've taken them out. And there's lots and lots of buttons to push. I'm a big fan of that. I love having buttons you can do things with rather than having everything hidden in a sort of screen. And speaking of that, of course, you've got all the bits and pieces like the 360 camera and stuff that tells you other things about the car, like how loud you want it and how sporty you want the steering wheel. And so it's got all the kit you want. And I mean, have a look at it in here. It's a really, really, really awesome place to be. And having a great big glass sunroof really helps too. But enough about all of that. More importantly is, what's this car like to drive? Well, what do you think? Of course it's excellent. Despite its size and the compliant nature of the suspension, there's no doubt in my mind that this car actually probably handles better than the DB9. It's going to sound controversial, but get in and drive it and you'll understand what I'm saying. I mean, just it's such a departure and reminds you how far we've come when it comes to, you know, the drive and compliance of all these SUVs now. They're just as good as cars. And that 4-litre combined with the gearbox and the steering feel and just the general vibe of the car, this is without doubt the best luxury SUV I've driven. Listen to that. I mean, even though we're not really exploring the outer limits of what this car can do, I've got absolutely no doubt that this is just the best luxury SUV on the market as an overall package today, without question. So if you're in the hunt for the hottest 4x4 in the market in Australia, then our 2021 Aston Martin DBX, finished in Sabrio Blue with factory elegance and indulgence pack, Alcantara headlining, surround view camera system, radar cruise control, heated and cooled front and rear seats, plus so much more. There is no doubt that this is the best of the best. So to find out all the details on this DBX, including pricing and all the other latest arrivals, visit our brand new website which was launched this week at lorbeck.com.au. And we are also continuing to stock up for our new Sydney showroom and replenish our Melbourne showroom stock. So if you have a pristine classic luxury or exotic car or SUV, call 1-800-8-LORBECK so we can go through all the options and services Lorbeck Luxury Cars can provide you. We'll see you next week.